Yeah, well, I suppose the best concert I ever saw was probably in 1983, Midnight Oil and Rob Hirst, more specific, who passed away recently.
Yep.
So this is part of the. Yeah, so I wanted to comment on that. The
Yes.
great man,
Yeah, Rob, who was it? You say Rob somebody?
Rob
Rob
Hirst.
Hirst, a name I've never heard of.
Really?
Yeah.
But you've heard of Midnight Oil.
Yeah, well, Peter Garrett. Everyone knows about the Midnight
Yeah.
Oil and Peter Garrett.
But yeah, what I found interesting in the reading about his buddy R.I.P. and obituary is that he was probably one of the chief songwriters, lyricist
Yeah.
for the band. So a lot of those great songs that we know and love,
Yeah.
he was responsible for the words, and the words probably are what made Midnight Oil the band it was.
Well, that's right. The power and the passion.
Yeah,
U.S. forces, etc.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But he's a guy who didn't just fluff around with love songs and stuff. He wanted to actually talk about issues, of which he had a number of issues, and I guess that's why I became a fan, because on some issues we became. Well, I don't want to use the word kindred spirits because I never bloody met the guy.
No,
but it's like, and a lot of times in rock music, a lot of young people like myself, they almost elevate the rock music to be part of their religion.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, because you are getting influenced now by new ideas, new philosophy. And it's fair to say that some of Rob Hirst's stuff rubbed off on me.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about a religion, you then come, obviously, that we all then have gurus or priests.
Yeah.
Or so I think that's one of the things where you do treat something as a religion.
Yep.
You need to be very wary of who are you following.
Yes, absolutely.
So was this guy the right made of the right stuff?
Yeah, was he? Yeah, does he deserve the the comment? Well, is there a word called idolatry? Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, there is. But I can't pronounce it either.
Yeah.
So yeah. But you became a fanboy.
I did.
Of this bloke.
Yeah. So on a number of issues, I suppose the key one that I connected with him.
Yeah.
So in 2022, I went up to the Daintree rainforest.
Right.
Yeah, and I was quite blown away by just when you get up there, there's all very displays and museums and stuff that you can visit, and it's all talking about the area, how the I think it's called the oldest rainforest in the world, maybe, I don't know,
right?
But it's like a piece of, it's been protected now by heritage listing, but it wasn't always that way. When we were 40 years ago, when we were working together down in Canberra there was a whole war in the forest going on, isn't there?
That's right, yeah.
The powers that be, the state government in Queensland at the time wanted to bloody, log that area or exploit its resources to add to a growing economy. And the Daintree rainforest was in the way of that, and more specifically, these greenies.
Was that in the era of Joe Belching Peterson?
I think so.
Right, yeah.
40 years ago, it would be. But
and that guy, what was that huge cop? He had a big copper. Russ Hinds.
Oh, Russ Hinds, yeah.
A guy who, he was pulled over, Russ Hinds was pulled over on the highway between Brisbane and the Gold Coast by a young, enthusiastic copper.
Oh, yeah.
And Russ Hinds said, hang on a minute there, lad. And he got out the map of Queensland, and he said, which desolate country outback town with about 3 people in it do you want your next posting to be in? And then the guy said, oh, look, we'll go. We won't bother.
That way. Bloody hell.
He was a big man. He was larger than life.
He was.
Big that they named a dam after him.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress.
Yeah, no.
But there's a guy I wouldn't follow. I wouldn't, if you started a religion led by Russ Hinds, I probably wouldn't be part of that religion.
No, you've got to have some credibility and you've got to have some points on the board. But so I wasn't, 40 years ago, I was not I wasn't interested in rainforests or the environment at all. But when I went up there in 2022, I was just humming this Midnight Oil song and I couldn't work out what the hell it was. But there was a song that I believe Rob Hirst wrote.
Yeah.
and it has this line, "I don't want to be no member of species that deceases."
All right.
So, in
Oh,
fact, that was the name of the EP or the LP
right.
that they created, was Species Deceases.
Right.
And
Okay.
it was
That's a good one.
basically, it wasn't a very well-known song, but it's the video that struck me, because the premise was, you can't bulldoze down like a rainforest, a tropical rainforest, and then just replace it with pine
No.
trees, which is what I think your buddy Bjelke Peterson wanted to do, or I don't know if he wanted to do, but yeah, when you go up there, you realise that it's a good example of what they call biodiversity, where everything is interconnected.
Yeah.
So it's that symmetry, or that biodiversity, that makes the whole thing as a whole work.
Yeah.
Because if you remove the trees, then that's almost like catastrophic for everything else that relies on those trees.
Because isn't in I know more about the Brazilian rainforest, but they say that the soil is quite fragile in a rainforest. If you go
So
north,
I didn't know that. If I did know that,
if you
I've
go
forgotten.
north to Canada,
Yeah.
they've giant redwoods and things, because they've got much better soil. So you can have a redwood tree that's 600 years old, and that's bigger than a skyscraper. But I think in the rainforest, the canopy's not that high. It doesn't have giant oaks in it.
Yeah.
It's better. What it does is, because of usually being in a tropical environment, and having quite, most of the soil is only made up of the foliage that drops from the overhanging trees, and the overhanging trees provide protection from the sunshine.
Yeah.
And inside that ecosystem, it's very, very contained. That's why when you move in loggers, and they just drive through and put a giant strip through there, it has trouble regenerating.
Yeah.
That forest.
So I think that particular song, I won't name the song, because people are interested, they can just find out what it was. But so Rob Hirst now has created a piece of art which has impacted me, which I suppose is one of the great things about art, is that it can move people in a different direction. I suppose that is art in its purest form, is that's what it should be. That's what it should be doing. It should be trying to move people, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I suppose, like, for me, when I look at music, and I've gone through different phases.
Yeah.
Back for me, getting serious about music in the late 60s.
Yeah.
There was a whole genre called protest songs.
Yes. Okay.
And you'd be put on, and they'd be saying, "Where have all the flowers gone?"
Yeah.
Young men, blah blah blah, etc. Where have all the young men gone? And then there'd be things like we're headed for the eve of destruction. And I think after a period of time, people said, but is that getting the kids up on the dance floor? Like what are we trying to achieve here?
Yeah. Can you do both? Can both be right?
Yeah, because I remember even later in life, when I'd done national service and I came back out to totally with my eyes blinking in the sunshine, coming back to Civvy Street.
Yeah.
And the new music had come. When I'd gone in in 1970, and I'd come out into 72 in a different world.
Yeah.
And I could hear a song. Someone had a transistor. This is like, because I got the train into town.
Yeah.
A free man.
Yeah.
And there was a song by Slade, a group called Slade.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard anything like it before.
Yeah.
And the guy who was the lead singer of Slade, he used to say, "Come on, kids, I want to see those boots. I want to hear those boots banging on the floor. I want to get you up on the dance floor. Get up and get with it. We'll get down and get with it. Like he wanted his definition of success.
Yes.
Is, have we got the kids up? And he actually said, we don't even want high quality recording.
Yeah.
He said, don't waste my time in the studio getting like with all the different settings. All I want is, because a lot of our because a lot of our fans have only got cheap equipment. They've only got a cheap phonograph or something. They want to put our single on it and jump up and down on the floor with their friends. They don't want to be told about the Vietnam War or March for Peace.
Give peace a chance.
Yeah, no.
No, well, famously, there's two former bandmates, and the guy said he accused him of writing silly love songs. So the other guy famously wrote a song called Silly Love Songs. And the hook line was, "And what's wrong with that?"
Exactly, yes. And that same person who accused Paul McCartney of writing silly love songs. This same person, I saw literally yesterday. Someone had put up on social media a picture of John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Standing behind a bed. While the maid made the bed that they were then going to get in and sing "Give Peace a Chance." And talk about how we're all equal.
That's a bit of a jump. I don't know if he was talking about equality. I think he liked his shit like everyone else, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's the thing. So sometimes I like it. Because we're talking about, we're not talking about the giant lanky guy that danced around like a guy with bare feet on a hot tin roof and that. The lead singer, who everyone sees, Midnight Oil. I've been watching some reaction videos from America. I was watching an African-American couple, young couple, who've been raised on hip-hop and things like that. And so they play some songs and people sent in. They say, you should take a look at this group. And they said, we've been told about an Australian group. Then they're called Midnight Oil. I might have heard the name, but we've never seen them. So this will be the first time. And then this young black girl and her, possibly her boyfriend, they put it on for the first time. They put the video on. And there's this guy about 6'8" or something, bald, white guy, leaping about like someone's put a cattle prod, on him and stuff. And they can't believe what they're seeing,
Well, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I thought it was the most exciting start to a concert I've ever seen in 1983 or what it was. And interesting enough, because Garrett was on fire that night, but they opened with a song called "Only the Strong," and I think this relates back to Rob Hirst. He wrote that song, and when he was in London when they were recording the album, the 1098 album, and he wrote it at a very low point in his life because he was very anxious about the recording because they'd been around for a while and they didn't seem to be getting any traction. They certainly didn't have any money, and so he's in his own words, he said he got what he called a panic attack.
All right.
Now, if you listen to that song that he penned as a result of that, the hook, the chorus line is, when I'm locked in my room, I just want to scream.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so that's the mindset of the guy. And I suppose that sort of segues into a larger point. Is that if Rob Hirst was magically sitting in this room talking to us, I think he would be getting a lot of pushback because you and I in particular, we love our rock music and everything, but there's other things in our lives that we've deliberately brought in, to distract us from some of the more heavier issues that Rob Hirst used to focus on. And I think focusing on too much heavy material, where it been like, for instance, nuclear disarmament. He was on all sorts of land rights. These things are fine, but what about something like sports, for example? You and I follow certain football codes. Is that a bad thing? Or can you have a little bit of that as a distraction from all this other daft stuff that's going on? Because
and that's what we don't want.
And it can be addictive. You can get into a tribe. You just about start a fight. So we've been to football games. We've just about been involved in fights.
I've seen it. Yes, but
But I would argue that investing into something like sports or the other thing is motorcycles. I'm into motorcycles. A little, but I sort of give myself a little bit. It's like alcohol. If you have too much alcohol, that can be a bad thing as well. But it can be a healthy distraction from other S ... in your life.
Yeah, you got to be careful though. Yes, and you do need to be careful of those things because I've noticed that. So the problem is at the moment, or probably forever, if you turn on the news, in the old days you'd put on the TV and turn on the 7 o'clock news.
Yeah.
Now it's worse because you've got the internet. You've got bad news coming all the time if you're not careful.
You got, yep.
So you don't want that. So you then say, right, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be following the NFL and see if the Kansas City Chiefs are going to do well.
The Chiefs.
Because now you're in a different world.
Yeah, you're in a different country.
Yeah, but you've got to be so careful because, say, a few years back, say you're a big 49ers fan.
Yeah.
You suddenly would say, hang on a minute. You see the whole ceremony of the crowd. You hear the roar of the crowd, the anticipation. You'd hear the brass band.
The Swiftie.
Yeah, well, no, 49ers sometimes.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Like...
they could be playing the Chiefs.
Yeah, so back in the day, the 49ers are real... You see them on the sidelines. They're running around. The kicker's kicking on the practice kicking ball. The other guys are all running around to limb it up. The cheerleaders are marching up and down, strutting their stuff. There's a brass band going back and forth. The big screens putting out, yell if you're a 49er fan. Let's hear it for the 49ers, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, a guy's come out, dropped to his knee. Oh, yeah. He's dropped to his knee.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, we've got to do this because of oppression of some people. And he said, hang on a minute, I've paid $1,000 for my seat here.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to be given a lecture.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm here. I've got a perfectly good TV set at home that's giving this news about all these demonstrations and this or redressing issues from the past.
Yeah.
But no, now I've paid $1,000 to come into the stadium to see some of the fittest, talented footballers in the world.
Yeah.
And what's going on? The guy's dropped to his knee.
Yeah.
And so this is what you don't want.
Yeah, no. Okay.
You don't want your art form. We've got to be careful. This is where you also got to just separate out: is it art or is it entertainment?
Yes. Okay.
Because sometimes people blur the lines.
Yeah.
And
make it about their own agenda.
I've seen a concert where people are all really buzzed up, and particularly if it's been a good support band.
There's people who don't like Taylor Swift popping up on the jumbo screen every time Pat Mahomes or whatever the guy is does something good on the field. But they did an analysis. She actually took up like 15 seconds of game time. So 15 seconds. And so I don't have any problem with.
And Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she's a cultural phenomenon.
Not only that, she added.
So the NFL is able to.
But she changed it. She changed the game, because she suddenly, for being a jocks, all these young 15-year-old girls were there to the point where even here in Australia, I would get on the train. I'm a man of some years, and I would get on the train in Sydney, wearing a Kansas City Chiefs shirt, the official NFL shirt, with Mahomes written on the back, number 15.
Yeah.
And I'd look around, and the whole train carriage is full of 15-year-old girls dressed the same as me.
Yes.
So this is where something's working. It's bringing together the generations.
So it could be a distraction, but there's possibly something called a healthy distraction.
Yeah, but the thing is, it
also complements the code itself. It's not actually divorced from the code.
But it's keeping you in the code.
Yeah.
It's because it's not. It's not saying, you guys are all bad.
Yeah.
She hasn't come out with a giant slogan.
All she's there is, you could say she's just turned up to a football game, had a drink, and she's supporting her boyfriend.
Well, so that's one of the problems. That was one of the reasons.
Can she do that?
No, evidently you can't, because a lot of people said she's reinforcing stereotypes.
Oh, okay.
They're saying, why is a highly talented 35-year-old woman got to be holding hands with some Neanderthal-looking
but that guy in turn
can
put away the football gear and go to one of her concerts,
which he has
stand
done
on the sidelines and applaud.
Which he has done. He's jumped on a plane and flown to Europe to see her award-winning concert.
So that's okay then if there's that back and forth.
Yeah, whereas I was personally involved in a heated argument on Facebook
Yeah.
where some people are limited, because I think with humans, some people have got what they call an open philosophy.
Yeah.
They're open to new ideas and also open to joining ideas
Yeah.
where they're complementary with a synergy.
Yeah.
But what had happened, someone would be saying, why is that horrible person, ugly woman, why is her head got to be up there when I've come to watch football?
Yeah. As I say, they did analysis. It's less than 20 seconds of game time. In a 2-hour game, I don't think... Actually, I've got no problem with 20 seconds.
Yeah, well, I think I got on one...
In fact, I enjoyed seeing Taylor Swift enjoying the game. I enjoy seeing her enjoying the game.
So some very upset, some purist said, I'm watching the football on TV, and suddenly I'm seeing Taylor Swift leaping up and down, wearing a Kansas City Chiefs, and she used to be an Eagles fan. Why, it's not even real. She's supposed to be an Eagles fan, and suddenly she's turned up as a Kansas City Chiefs. She's leaping up and down with Brittany Mahomes. You've got two blondes. Why do I have to see blonde girls jumping up and down, having good fun? How dare they? Have fun. The mother's there. Why is his mother there? Why is Travis Kelce's mother there, jumping up and down, hugging Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes? How horrible is that? Well, I posted back. Yeah. And so, I think you're horrible. I think there's something wrong. I think when you point a finger, to someone, quite often your thumb's pointing to God and your other fingers are pointing back to you.
Okay, yes.
And I think that you need to have a look in the mirror.
Bloody hell.
If you have an issue with a 35-year-old attractive woman going to watch a football game that her boyfriend's playing in, you need to have a very deep think about yourself. And so to me, that is not distorting, not distorting the genre. Whereas I know of another concert, which was, I think it was a recent one, where someone said they went to this concert and they were going to hear all of the great songs. And I won't mention the name of this guy. He's been around doing rock and roll songs, and he's got some of the best top-selling rock and rolls. He's so good that people have been called him the boss. But I'm not going to name any names here, right? Yeah. And this guy, the people have all turned up to watch this concert. Some of them have probably never seen him. They've always dreamed that one day get to see this guy, and they paid probably several $100s out of their pension, possibly. Yeah. And this guy's come out on stage and talked for 20 minutes.
Okay.
About some issue, assuming that everyone in his audience is on the same same side. They told them this, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know what the topic was about. That's how important his words were. To the extent that another artist, from The Who, guy, Pete Townsend, has said, he said, this guy, first of all, he's not as good as he thinks he is. And he's one of these guys, he's not that bright, and he probably needs to shut up and play. So that's the thing I look at. Yeah. So getting back to this, this guy's...
Again, old Rob Hirst, if he was there, he said, why? I don't want to talk about sports. But I think what he's missing is that it's not really... We don't really follow sports because of, what's of the game. We know it's bloody... for the moment, and it's not all that important. However, it does offer what I call the framework for social interaction.
That's right.
So on Monday, you and I, we're both looking forward to the big game.
That's right.
Seahawks Pats.
That's exactly right.
And we'll be dressing up in our buddy gear.
Kit.
We'll be getting onto the train. There possibly might be other sports punters there, and there'll be some back and forth.
There could be banter.
There could be some fingers pointing, but it's all part of the theatre of and what some people call fun.
And the good thing about it...
So I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. If I might count to Rob, if he was sitting here, was you got to find the fun.
It's a shame he's not here because... only a few short weeks ago, he could have been here. That's another story. But if he was here right now, we'd have his drum set up, and every time we make a point, he'd go, and he'd do a drum roll for us, wouldn't he? We probably should have got a drum machine to be able to do a drum roll occasionally.
Yeah.
You know, I might need
I
to
know.
actually get something like that, but
Yeah.
I might set something like that up in a
No.
minute. But because I was disappointed to find out
Yeah.
that he was the brains of the outfit.
Yeah.
Because
Heretofore.
when I've always watched Midnight Oil, because it took me it cost me 2 decades
Yeah.
of my life where I could have been enjoying Midnight Oil and I could have gone and seen them. When I went and saw Midnight Oil a few years ago in the Domain in Sydney,
Yeah.
it was a letdown to me
Okay.
because too much water's gone under the bridge. Peter Garrett has been a parliamentarian. He's been in politics. I've seen him in a suit coming out on arguing with other politicians, and that to me has taken away something special about him.
Yeah.
I want to think of him out there leaping around, that somewhere, even if he's not on stage, he's somewhere in a pub leaping around like a madman, to entertain just his friends or something like that. I don't want to see him turn up in an expensive suit in Parliament, because the other thing is that also this is where dreams meet reality. So I like to, when I started to enjoy their music, which was too late because they're already old, so I'm only now rely on looking at videos of them in their heyday. When I saw him out live, I could almost debate if he was alive. I was tempted to send up a medic to take a pulse or something.
Oh, okay.
Because this old bald guy, which is all right to be old and bald, but I mean, he's been like that since the year dot. Because it took me a while to work out that his hair wasn't made of cloth. I mean, when I first saw him, I said, why is this guy jumping around? Well, I didn't know it was a bandana because we didn't have streaming TV back then.
Okay.
So sometimes I'd wake up, or I might be up watching a show called Rage, and I'd wake up in my chair and, this is good music, and that, and then I'd see this guy leaping around, and I thought, well, how come his hair's made of tea towels and stuff? And then I realised that that's not his hair. He's affected cloth hanging off him, so that when he leaps around, instead of globules of sweat flying off in all directions off of a chrome dome, it's an appearance. I'm looking at him now on your board and seeing that it looks like from a distance that he's leaping around and the hair's flying in all directions like, Wizard or something, like the group Wizard had a giant guy with head hair was going in all directions. And this guy doesn't have any hair, so he's affected the impact of things flying around. So it's all about movement. So for me, Midnight Oil is first of all, a very high quality music. Musos. So I don't even know the names of the guys, and that's probably good. They're that good that I don't need to say, that's so-and-so that came across from that group and blah, blah, blah. You don't want to get involved in that. You're watching some music. First of all, it's good music. If it's rubbish music, I don't care what the message is. So I like hardcore rock and roll by experts who got the beat that makes your feet are tapping, you're punching the air, so first of all, how come I really haven't gone into these guys? Part of it was because there wasn't a venue. There wasn't a vehicle till the Rage and some of those shows, because we didn't have the internet. So if you weren't into that group, you hadn't gone to any live concerts. They weren't necessarily hit records. Some of these groups are more album oriented or more live oriented. So I didn't know much about them. I knew they did a thing, US forces. I thought, no, not that again. Let's all bash the US Army, as if that hasn't been done already, here we go, blah, blah, blah. And then he had a song, and he'd be saying, give them land back. These guys are burning in their beds. And you've taken their land and you burnt them in their beds and everything like that.
Bloody hell.
And I'm thinking, wow, this bald guy's going, he looks like he could go in and literally find the people who had put these guys in there and set fire to their beds and stolen all their land. And he could go in and literally physically grab these horrible people out and throw them into the sea to swim back to where they came from. Because he said, it belongs to them. How dare it belongs to them? We've got to give it back.
Yeah.
And so I'd be saying, right, and I visualise this guy singing this from the deck of a ship as him and his band sail back to the old country, giving back the land to the indigenous, right?
See, I thought you were going to say, I imagine this guy, bloody actually using the Midnight Oil and writing down these lyrics, and he.
I haven't got to that yet.
But it turns out he didn't have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I know.
It was freaking Rob Hirst who wrote that.
Well, that's
song.
what you've disappointed me. You've taken the wind out of my sails
okay.
By what you told me.
Yeah, okay.
Because I just was so driven by this guy's passion.
Yeah.
And he's even singing the song "The Power and the Passion," and he's got passion.
Yeah.
So and it looks like he's got power.
Yeah.
He looks like he could be a bouncer.
Yeah, he could be.
If he wasn't a singer.
Yeah.
So I just thought, well, I don't necessarily there's a saying, I may not agree with what you say, but I will fight to the death if you're right to say it.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily, back in those era,
Yeah.
I probably would say I leaned a bit to the right. Now I'm not. Now I'm middle of the road. And so I thought, well, why do I want to listen to some communist telling me about, some commo, some pinko lefty? I'm not going to listen to him preaching to me.
Yeah.
But I got to a point where I outgrew that.
Okay.
And I thought, I don't care what he's singing about.
Yeah.
I couldn't care less.
You respect the energy, what he brings to the table.
I mean, this guy could have, he could end up in in some files. He released 3 million pages of files, and they just say, oh, this guy's in these files.
Yeah.
With some horrible, disreputable bloke, and there's about 3 million emails. That wouldn't stop me from liking the guy's body of work.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying I'm going to go and start hanging out with him in the pub.
Yeah.
I'm just listening to some music, right?
Well,
so this is the whole thing about him. And I thought, where does he get the ideas? I mean, this guy, he lives the ideas. Is that sort of working?
No, that's someone's.
Yeah. So I thought, well, I have to admire the guy.
Yeah.
Because he's poured his heart out. He sat in a dark room.
Yeah.
And he's poured his heart out. Oh, yours is off, is it?
No,
that's right. Yeah. He's poured his heart out with pen and paper.
Yeah.
And written these words. Elton John said it's hard to write a song with bitter fingers.
Yeah.
So you can see him in there, literally probably breaking the pens. He probably needed 20 pens.
Yeah.
Writing this thing. Oh, how dare you take the land, you mongrels, and US forces came in and bombed them, and could you give them a go? Give these guys a go.
Yeah.
Stop sort of taking their land. Stop coming and strip mining. Logging their rainforest. They protected the rainforest for 2 million years while there was no other colonists here. They protected the forests. They protected the marsupials in there. Beds didn't have a bed, so they couldn't burn in their beds. They'd sleep on the ground. So there's no beds to burn. There was power. There was passion in the corroborees. They had all this stuff going, and he's written all this stuff. And he goes, oh, I can't wait to get. Okay, when I get to that bit, it belongs to them. That's brilliant. He probably underlined that bit. It belongs to them. Right, and then he's thinking all that stuff. And now you tell me, about a week ago, or no, days ago, you tell me that
Robbie
he
Hirst.
didn't write it.
No.
He didn't write it. He's just a meat puppet.
Yeah.
All he is mouthing the words that some other guy wrote.
Yeah, or he could have something in his ear, and the drummer is actually feeding him the lines to say.
Is that why what you mean, like an NFL player? So behind the scenes, there's a guy with a thing here covering his mouth.
Yeah, what you don't think, just do.
Because we used to know a guy who had what they call a hearing loss, and so if we'd have known, say someone like us who are very astute, when we go to a music, some people go to the music just jumping around. I know that and possibly you, when I go to watch a band, I'm looking at everything. I get right up front.
Yeah.
I want to see what chords the guitarists are playing, because I'm a trainee guitarist. I want to see the drummer. How much he's relying on the feet, or is it a little show? and that, I want to see his technique. Is he, like Keith Moon, is he a nutcase, or is he sort of more controlled?
Yeah.
I want to see this whole thing. I want to see if the bass player and the rhythm players, or
in sync.
If they're in sync. And I want to see the body language. I want to see the lead guitars run over to lean on the bass player, and then they're both playing together.
Yeah.
And you think, these guys are mates.
Yeah.
These guys are.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I didn't like the Eagles, because they didn't actually like each other on stage. The bass player was out of sync with members that they wanted to actually punch each other on that. But anyway,
I want to see.
Point.
So I've gone to be entertained.
Yeah.
And so if we went with our friend, who's literally has a super strength. This friend of ours from an old colleague, he has like a super strength that because his ears weren't like as efficient as other people's.
Yeah.
He developed the power of sight better than ours, and he could literally read lips.
Yes.
So if he came to a concert with us, it's hard to work out why he'd come to the concert, but anyway, if he came to the concert with us, right, he would say, while the big guys leaping around and talking about, how can you sleep? Yeah. How could you even sleep while the beds are burning? That'd be pretty off the wing. Not only have you set fire to their beds, then you go off having a good sleep while their beds are burning. But anyway, and he'd be sort of saying, but what I noticed, Kevin, is while he's singing that, I've been looking at the drummer, and he's mouthing the words. He's actually mouthing the words as if they're his. He's not singing because he must have a crap voice.
No, he's got a great voice.
Oh, has he?
A backing voice.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. But I mean, but I can see his mouth moving. And I realised they were his words coming out of the big guy.
Yeah.
They're his words.
Did you use the word meat puppet?
I might have.
That's not right. But no, I was going to say, this is supposed to be a celebration.
Yeah.
You could be forgiven for thinking that we're actually bashing Midnight Oil and Rockers.
No, I'm telling you how much I love them.
Listen, I mentioned at the top of the shop that rock music now is part of my religion.
Yeah.
And in the Earthship here, we're looking at a mural of 9 of my favourite LPs, and Midnight Oil, bang, it's right there.
And there's the guru. See, now to me, that is the guy, the lead.
Although we sound like we bloody critiquing the band and the guy, we actually, for me personally, I can't speak for you, but I love the guys.
Yeah, but as they said, as Mark Anthony said, I didn't come to bury Caesar. I came to praise him. We're saying how brilliant and how pivotal this group has been.
Yeah. Well, and also brave. Consider when they went on that flatbed truck and parked it outside the Exxon building to protest, the Exxon Valdez oil spill.
Yeah.
How many people would have the bravery or the courage to because anything could have happened. In a place like New York. You're possibly taking your lives in your hands. I don't know.
Would that have been before?
But that turned out to be like a watershed, for me anyway, a watershed moment in sort of protesting the damage to the environment.
Would that have been an evolution?
There's no question that that oil spill was bloody catastrophic for the area around it.
Because when you think of a flatbed truck, you think of AC/DC, don't you?
Okay.
In
that
going down through the streets of Melbourne, playing the bagpipes.
Yeah.
And that was the first time anyone had ever seen a rock and roll band with a guy playing bagpipes, because they didn't realise that Bon Scott was actually a very accomplished.
Okay. So this is a timeout. We're going to take.
So we've covered that.
Midnight Oil. Okay, the Midnight Oil's in the bag.
Oh, we've done Midnight Oil.
Yeah.
We haven't really done much Hirst.
We've bloody massively done.
Okay, right, fair enough.
It's time to change.
Oh, right. Hang on.
And Midnight Oil.
I'm taking issue. The guest's taking issue with the.
No, we're going to change.
Compare.
So we're going to deliberately stop.
Oh, you're going to time box it.
Yeah. So that's maybe one or two.
We've done Midnight Oil, right?
Yeah. But so now we're going to change the subject.
And this is definitely recording, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So this is all in one thing.
Okay,
but I'll
yeah,
chop
yeah,
it up
yeah.
later.
Right,
so
yeah.
the idea is we do one take.
Yeah.
And then I chop it
Yeah,
up
okay,
later.
yeah,
So there's
yeah,
no
yeah.
pissing about
Yeah.
stopping,
Yeah.
or I need to create a
Yeah.
new name now.
No. So what you need is lots of material that you can cut
pulp
and,
material,
yeah.
So, but
Dice
now
and
we've
slice.
kind of done. Yeah, You know how long we've been talking for about midnight oil?
No.
Probably about 45 minutes.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, so it's
Well,
way
there
too
we go.
much.
I didn't
But
know we'd
that's
have
all
anything
right.
to talk about.
But I might get that down into two or three logical parts or something. But yeah, so we're going to change the subject.
Okay.
So
What we need is a board, like when you say cut,
don't need that. But
it'd be good.
yeah. So yeah, one of the things I wanted to talk about was the Beat Generation and how it is linked to the rock movement, the youth movement of the 60s, and how its even sort of tentacles go to present day. But it all started, for me anyway, so this is just one dude speaking, I might hasten to add.
And I know nothing about it, so I will have to be pretty much a silent witness.
So the Beat Generation for me is you could talk about a number. You could talk about a number of issues that it is about or it tries to capture. But for me, it's,
we've got a fair bit of
basically
material, haven't we?
one book, which is
it's not like we can't do more.
Dharma Bums by
I mean, not now,
Jack
but
where he's
we've got a couple of days up our sleeve.
He doesn't make up stuff. He just has life experience, and he takes a few notes, and then he writes a book about it. So these are real people that he's talking about. So in this book, The Dharma Bums, there's a real person called Gary Schneider, who's this young Buddhist. He's a student, but he was studying to be a Buddhist and a Zen master. And at that time he hadn't, because this guy Gary Schneider went on to be a Pulitzer Prize winner writer himself, but he was also a beat writer.
With some basic training as kids, but without structure, because they're not embraced to maths or anything anymore. Because what used to be a religion was a whole lifestyle.
Living off the land, just living a simple life, which is part of the Buddhist Zen culture. And he's very much into nature, so hiking. So they would go up to the Dome. I think there's this place in Yosemite National Park called the Dome or something.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. A lot of people climb the abseil.
Yeah. I think he went up to there. And so he said, Jack, so this guy, Gary Schneider, took him aside and said, Jack, you're living quite a destructive lifestyle, because the part of the beats, they're taking benzos and stuff to keep themselves awake. But they're on a lot of drugs. There's a lot of, I don't know about LSD, but they're certainly on this thing called benzos, which is, I think it's called benzo, I don't know, diazepine or one of these things. And also his other drug of choice for Jack Kerouac was alcohol. So basically Gary Schneider says, well, this doesn't gel very well with the Zen Buddhist culture. No. You're supposed to get rid of all this external junk and just focus on nature and try and be connected or aligned to a wider consciousness or nature, as Gary Schneider says. So he said, what I think you should do, Jack, is become a fire watch for 12 weeks. Now, in that 12 weeks, you'll be off the booze. You can't take booze up there to bloody into a top of the mountain as you're a fire watcher. And so he went to Desolation Peak and he just wrote, all this Buddhist poetry, because he's right into it, Jack. One thing about Jack, possibly like yourself, once he gets hold of something, he'll hammer it and shape it and try and make it his own, and then incorporate that into his personal philosophy.
I've seen philosophers like the toilet wall philosophers. You've often write pithy things on the toilet wall. I went in to use a toilet in a bar in Saigon during the Vietnam War. And while I was standing at the urinal, I was trying to read all of these things. Yeah. And some American Marine or something had been in there before me and wrote